Hello and welcome back to the Preppy podcast. Thank you all so much for listening this week as always. Today I have SJ Bailey of SJ Bailey Co. on the podcast. I have been a fan of her jewelry for a while now. She creates some really gorgeous pieces, but in addition to her jewelry brand, she also is an influencer who shares some of the best finds for clothing and also home. Her house is truly so beautiful, and she even shares some of her estate sale finds, which I find so interesting and always love seeing those beautiful collected pieces. But before we get into my conversation with SJ, just a few housekeeping reminders. The first being that we have tickets for upcoming Camp Preppies on sale right now at thepreppypodcast.com. If you don't know what Camp Preppy is, it's basically adult summer camp where we do preppy activities, you make new friends, relax, and just enjoy time together, honestly. It's so much fun. So we have one in June at Vail, Beaver Creek, Colorado area. That one's going to be just so beautiful that time of year, spending time in nature, doing these preppy activities. We have some really great brand partners for that as well, that I've shared some sneak peeks on Instagram. But also coming up, we have our Barnsley Resort, which is outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It's not too far from there. It's a full, beautiful resort with golf, you can shoot clays, there's a pool, there's a spa, pickleball courts, the whole thing. So that one we're going to lean into more of a southern traditional theme there, very colorful, very classic. And then finally Kennebunkport in October, which like I've been saying, we only have 2 tickets left to that, so get your tickets ASAP, and that'll be in October, perfect for leaf peeping season. Just a beautiful time of year up in New England, which I cannot wait for. But you can expect sorts of activities like crafts, art projects, mahjong, needlepoint, fun themed events and dinners. They are just an absolute blast. So find information and tickets at thepreppypodcast.com for those. Also, I suggest joining Club Preppy, which is our virtual membership. We do at least one virtual activity a month. So this month we did a floral arranging class actually with Dorothy from Fete and Vignette, who was on the podcast last week. So if you want to learn more about her, go listen to that episode. But we have lots of fun activities coming up for Club Preppy, and members also get part of an exclusive group chat where they can share some of their own preppy finds, some of their personal style. It's just a great community. And finally, they get a little gift in the mail each month. So this month it's a little bag charm. Last month we had a notebook. The month before that, a tote bag. And they're just some great preppy little gifts for members. So all of that information and more is at thepreppypodcast.com. And then for those who listen to the podcast, you can also watch on YouTube now. We are growing an audience over there, and it's fun watching the videos with my interviews. But let's get into this week's episode. All right. Well, why don't you first let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do?
Hi, yes, so I'm SJ Bailey. I'm the founder and designer of SJ Bailey Co. and SJ Bailey Curated. SJ Bailey Co. is an accessories company based here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have a specialization in the bridal industry, but we're also a cherished favorite for everyday gifting, baby showers, baby announcements, just all the things. And it's so much fun, and I love doing it. And then SJ Bailey Curated is my antiques, estate sales, and home decor page. I'm not a professional designer in any means, but it's just something that I've always loved and been drawn to.
Excellent. And I can't even remember the first time I met you. I think I started following you, and then I had an event in Atlanta and invited you to it for a client. But I really adore your style. You have such great taste. And I love your jewelry as well. I know, I don't know if you sell them on your website, clip-on earrings, but you have made clip-ons for me in the past, which if any clip-on girlies are listening, then they can message you or email you because they're hard to find, but your jewelry is so beautiful.
Thank you. That's very kind. Yes, we don't carry clip-ons on our website, but it's absolutely something that we offer. There's no added fee for converting to clips. There are so many girls out there who need clip-ons, and I feel like it's hard to find them. So I was like, okay, well, we will be that company. We'll do it.
I love it. Well, I'm so excited to chat with you today and learn more about your business. But let's start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about you as a kid. Were you growing up in Atlanta? Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like? Were you someone that was like creative and making jewelry at a young age, or entrepreneurial and selling lemonade at the driveway? Like, what was childhood like?
Yes, so I am so blessed. I loved my childhood. My family is so close. I have a brother and a sister, and we actually moved around a lot growing up. So I was born here in Atlanta, lived here until about kindergarten, moved to Salt Lake City, Utah for my dad's job. We lived there for like 2 years. Then we moved to Houston, Texas for 2 years, moved back to Salt Lake City for 2 more years. And then my mom was like, we're going back to Atlanta. Like, I miss the South. Like, it's time. And so she kind of put her foot down, and then my dad switched jobs. And we moved back to Atlanta when I was in the seventh grade, and we've been here ever since. I went to UGA, which is where I met my husband. And we've been together since our sophomore year, which is sweet. And then yeah, I guess that's kind of how I got where I am now. But as a kid, I was definitely always very creative. I loved a craft. I loved creating. I think I watched The Devil Wears Prada one time, and then after that, I was always like sketching outfits and sketching clothes. And my grandmom taught me how to sew. So as a young child, I was like trying to make my own clothes that I would wear, and my mom put me in like knitting classes because I was so interested in that. So it was like me as a little kid and all these older ladies, and it was so much fun, and I loved it. And I also always loved making jewelry. And as I got older, I think the jewelry I made definitely improved from, what I was making when I was like 5. But yeah, I've always been drawn to creativity and beautiful things. And in terms of design, my mother has a really great eye, and so do both my grandmothers. So that's been something I kind of grew up around. And I think once my siblings and I got a little bit older, my parents didn't want to watch like the Disney shows anymore. So they would be like, okay, Design Star is on. It's 7 p.m. Like, we're making popcorn and we're all going to watch it. So yeah, that's kind of how I grew up, and it was just so fun.
Yeah, I love that. I had no idea you moved around so much as a little kid. I'm sure like that must have been tough, but also gave you such great skills now as a business owner, being able to like talk with anyone and adapt to different things. So that's so interesting.
Yeah, I was very shy growing up just because I think always being like the new girl in a new school. And I think, thank goodness, like I'm so close with my siblings, so I always had them, which is really special. And believe it or not, my parents actually ended up, because I always did ballet growing up, they put me in Taekwondo to like build my confidence and make me more outgoing. So in like elementary school, I actually got my black belt in
Oh my
Taekwondo,
goodness.
which is so
Wait,
funny.
that is like a fun fact.
That is during like two truths and a lie. That's
Yeah.
always my like one of my truths.
So don't mess with SJ. She has a black belt.
I don't think I remember a thing from that, but my husband thinks it's funny. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then you went to UGA, you met your husband. What did you study there? Was it something doing with business or fashion or art?
So looking back, I do think it would have been really fun to have done something more in design, especially with what I do now. But my parents, my dad worked in finance, and my mom is an accountant. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like finance or accounting, that's going to be what I do. And went in as a finance major. I interned at a private equity firm after my freshman year, realized actually like I hate math. Like I don't want to do this. And I really love marketing. So I worked really closely with the chief marketing officer, which was such an incredible, I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And she was amazing. And she really showed me how much fun and how much more interested I am in marketing. So I ended up switching majors, graduated from UGA with a degree in marketing and an emphasis in digital marketing, which coming full circle, I think ended up being really great because I do all of the marketing for SJ Bailey Co. And I definitely learned a lot about digital platforms and how those work and the ins and outs. So even though I no longer still work in marketing, it's been very helpful in running my own business.
Totally. It's funny how a lot of us had someone that kind of gave us the right direction in college or even pre-college or after college to be like, you know what, I think you'd be great in this realm or in this position. I think all of us, when we look back, there's someone that we have to thank for that.
Oh, yes. I think there are so many people who go into school thinking, oh, I'm going to do this. And then they graduate, and a couple years later, they're doing something totally different.
Yeah.
And normalize changing your mind. That is
Yeah,
so fine. That's okay.
totally. So then tell me about after you graduate college, sort of your first career and that leading to entrepreneurship. Like, what did that look like?
So after I interned at that private equity company, I ended up the summers after taking internships in software companies. So doing like software testing, software development. I was on the marketing side, so I
Yeah.
never touched like the coding aspect of it. But I ended up taking a job when I graduated with a technology company based here in Atlanta. The team was so great. I really loved the company, and it was amazing. And everybody was so nice, and I learned a ton. But I was missing that creative kind of design aspect of everything because, when you're advertising like a software testing platform, it's definitely not the same thing as advertising and marketing like mother of pearl earrings.
Yes.
Um, and I missed just creating. And my husband and I actually were, well, at the time he was my boyfriend and then fiance, but he's now my husband. We were doing long distance. And so he moved to Virginia for law school. And so I was like, okay, well, I have all this free time now. Maybe I should just start making jewelry again, kind of like to distract myself. And also, I just miss making jewelry. And I had been thinking, especially around my senior year of college, like I had a high school jewelry business and I thought about restarting it. But I was so busy with school, and Terry College of Business is like, Terry is a lot of work. It's amazing, but it's not something you can probably run a side hustle whilst doing. If you do, very impressed. I could not. And so I just decided to restart my little high school business. And yeah, it really took off from there. So it's been really special.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I feel like a lot of women who have to move for their husbands or boyfriends' careers end up finding like their passion in doing so because they're in a different place. I don't know if it's they have more time or like maybe they're meeting new friends, so they might have a little bit more time, or then they just have this desire to do something on their own. I've had a few women on the podcast with similar stories like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long distance is no fun because he was in Virginia and I was in Atlanta. Because I was like, I love you so much and I know we're going to end up together, but I am not moving to Virginia
Yeah.
if all of my friends and family are in Atlanta, if we're not engaged. And
Yeah.
then he was like, "Oh, well, I can't live without you, of
Oh,
course." So
so
we
romantic.
proposed, and then I know I was like, "Oh, thanks." And so then, yeah, it was, but I totally, I get that. I feel like long distance is never like super fun, and you just have to like find your pace and find like how you're gonna make it work. And I do well when I'm very busy. So restarting my high school business was the way to do that. And now look at us now.
I love that. Okay, so then tell me some of the steps in restarting that business. Did you relearn any of the skills in jewelry making, like take any classes or Google stuff? Were you going online and finding the supplies you need in terms of, beading and mother of pearl and stuff like that? Were you launching a website? Like, what did that look like coming from, this high school business to relaunching it and wanting to make it your own business again?
Yeah, I actually decided, like, because, little 22-year-old SJ was like, the first thing to do is make an Instagram account. So I made Insecure the Instagram handle because, of course, that's where my mind went. And then I was sitting at my desk at my corporate job, and I looked up the domain rights to what I wanted my like business name to be at the time, and it was available. And I had been checking for like actually probably about 2 years, and it had not been. And so when it was available, I was like, done purchasing. And then as soon as I bought the domain rights, I was like, oh wait, now I actually like I got to do this. And so I went home and I spent the next week, I mean, I just poured through like the internet trying to find suppliers, trying to figure out like, here in Atlanta, we're so lucky and we have Scott's Antique Market and they sell a lot of really cool beads in mother of pearl and everything. And then also we have America's Mart. So I was like, okay, when can I go to both? I need to figure this out. I didn't end up finding exactly what I was looking for at either one of those, but it was a great place to start. And so yes, I tried very hard to figure out the supplies of everything because I hate heavy earrings, so I wanted to make sure that our earrings were going to be really lightweight. And and you want pretty statement jewelry, that's kind of a hard balance to strike. So did a lot of research on that, and then when I was in high school, this was, gosh, I graduated in 2015. So this was when, like the chunky beaded necklaces and bracelets and
Yeah.
like the little choker necklaces with the like antler horn were all, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yes.
that whole style was very in. And I knew that that was not what I was drawn to. Like at this point in time, I was more drawn to like, statement, but still dainty and feminine. And I really love pearls. I've always loved pearls. And so I just taught myself how to wire wrap. I've always been super creative, so it's just something that I was like, okay, this will just be kind of a little puzzle. Like, let's figure out how to attach like this, mother of pearl square with this mother of pearl shell petal, and let's put it together. How do we like this? Should we adjust? It was just a fun thing for me, and it ended up working out. So I'm really glad I did.
I love that. So it sounds like, you sort of defined your style differently than what was trendy at the moment. And it sounds like it's carried through. Like your pieces are so classic, honestly. Like how did you know what style to go after, and like even that it works so well these days with brides, or you mentioned gifting for showers and things like that. Like did that take a little bit of your customers sort of telling you, or was it just something naturally that you were drawn to, so that's what you wanted to do?
I have always been a girly girl at heart, and I feel like I've always known what I like and what I don't like. And so for me, it came pretty naturally to be able to figure out, like, okay, this is what I want to wear. Like, these are the outfits that I'm wearing on a regular basis. What would match what I'm wearing? Because that's what I'm drawn to. So I really just stuck to my personal style. And I think that when you stick to who you really are, like that shows through. And I think that also carried over into my branding and my marketing because I feel like SJ Bailey Co. and SJ Bailey Curated truly are just extensions of me. And yeah, so I just tried to stay true to myself, and I think that's reflected in our designs.
No, it definitely is. Whenever I see your pieces, I can tell that you designed them, that they're your pieces, which is so great to have that signature look for your brand. And speaking of then, starting your influencer page, let's call it, I don't know, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
or whatever, yeah, whatever you call it. Um, I think, and tell me sort of how that got started, but I think you have such great style, and people probably were asking about your personal style or your home when they were shopping your jewelry. So what was that a strategic move then to start that account as well and grow that, or how did that come to be?
Well, thank you. I really think, from a marketing perspective, people are more loyal to people and people are more interested in people than they are in just a brand. Like you can love a brand, but typically what you love is the person behind it and like what they represent, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt like for SJ Bailey Co., I was sharing, clips. I think at the time I lived in an apartment in Charlottesville, Virginia, while Jackson was in law school. So I had decorated our apartment and it was a mix of like Facebook Marketplace finds and estate sales and antiquing in Virginia, which is so amazing. I miss it so much. And I was sharing clips of all the behind the scenes of my home and then just lifestyle and making the jewelry, a little day in the life. And I loved it. And I think people really became interested in that.
Mhm.
And as my account grew, and as like the SJ Bailey Co. brand grew, I think at that point we had moved back to Atlanta. We had bought our first house. We were renovating it, and I was sharing like, okay, here's like what we're gonna do for countertops and like for wallpaper and all that stuff. And it started to feel like an unnatural alignment sharing, like Carrera marble countertops on the same account where I'm trying to promote like weddings, brides, baby shower announcements. It just didn't, in my marketing brain, it just did not work. And so I felt like, well, why don't I just go ahead and start a separate page, which seemed a little scary at the time because I had already built a page with a loyal following and amazing customers and people who really were interested in what we were doing. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to trust that this is the right thing to do. And I ended up splitting the pages so that it was SJ Bailey Co. is dedicated to all things like brand, jewelry, outfit inspiration to go with our jewelry, wedding inspiration, and baby shower inspiration. And then you have SJ Bailey Curated, which is more of my personal page. So I'm sharing like my house. If I go to an estate sale, being like, okay, come along with me. And I also felt like it would be a really great way to capture the attention of potential customers who, even if they weren't interested in purchasing our earrings at that time, we could still remain top of mind for them. Because, not everybody wants to follow like a brand's Instagram page,
Yeah.
but if I'm incorporating our earrings into my everyday and I'm wearing them every day, people can see that. And it's actually been so great for our sales and our growth. So I'm really glad that I did. It's been fun.
That is so smart, SJ. Like, I feel like anyone listening, it's something that I preach and talk about all the time. But I love how you said it, that people are loyal to a person over a brand. Like, the person behind that brand, they want to know more about, they want to support that person. And so, even though, it sounds like it was a little strategic, it was so smart in what you did. And that's sort of why, same with me, I have my Patricia May Olson account, then I have my podcast account and my Peaked PR account because they're all different, but they all are the same in a sense. Like they all reflect each other very well. And I think more founders need to do that. They need to, whether they're creating a whole other account that's just about them, or at least sharing more about them on their business account. Because, like you said, people invest in people versus investing in like an earring at the end of the day. Let's say long term.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And then you don't have to feel weird when you're like, okay, we have a launch coming up and I really want to showcase and focus on all things going on for our launch. But I also just got like a new chair for my living room and I
Yeah.
really want to show people because they'll be excited. Then it's not a conflict of interest anymore.
Totally. So yeah, that is just so smart for anyone listening. Definitely take that to heart. So I know just from following you and knowing you over the years, your business has flourished and continues to grow. So can you tell me about how it's changed over the years? Like I know, for example, it's not just you making jewelry these days, and you've done a lot of fabulous collaborations and events. So will you share a little bit about the growth?
Yes, goodness. So, my biggest roadblock is that I am a perfectionist. And when it comes to my business and my work, I am very type A and I have a hard time trusting somebody else to do what I know I can do, And I think so many business owners feel the same way. And it was the scariest thing ever thinking, okay, I'm at a point now where I need to hire people. Like, I need more help. Like, I am so at a limit of revenue right now because I can only make so many earrings myself. I can only reach out to so many boutiques and manage so many wholesale partnerships when I'm doing everything. And at that point, I had just quit my corporate job working in software. So I built SJ Bailey Co. as a side hustle for about, I think it was like 4 years, maybe 4.5, I can't remember. And finally had the courage to take it full time. And when I did that, I decided, okay, I'm going to hire someone. So I ended up coming up with a structure in my head that I felt like would work best for our company, which is to hire local earring artisans. So they would come to my house in Atlanta, pick up the materials, they could make the jewelry wherever they, like, as long as they were made and the quality, like, because then of course when they drop them off I inspect the quality, and any that need to be remade get remade. But that was so helpful, having 7 local women here in Atlanta helping me make all the jewelry so that we could really beef up our inventory. And then that meant that I had the freedom to go out and chase more wholesale partners and really beef up our marketing, get to start focusing on the actual business growth versus just trying to maintain and sustain.
Yeah.
And that was really incredible. And I love Atlanta. I love our community. I love the small businesses here. Everybody is so supportive and so wonderful. Like, I cannot say enough incredible things about Atlanta and the people here. And I am so blessed to have such incredible small business owners that are also female founders here that are just excited to work together. And there were just some really natural fits and collaborations. So Mary Frances Maker, she's a fine jewelry designer. She does, like, solid 14 karat gold and solitaire diamonds and all that. So we launched a solitaire diamond collection, and then through our very first influencer event here in Atlanta, which, oh my gosh, I was so nervous about, but it was so much fun. A dear friend of mine hosted it, Darby Fallon Clark. She is incredible, and it was just so much fun, and we got some other small businesses in the area involved, and it was a great way to really celebrate our collection, and we actually have part 2 coming out soon. And then on the bridal side of things, we've gotten to partner with Ann Barge and Lula Kate. We have a collection coming out with Lula Kate for earrings that are specific to their bridesmaids' dresses. And yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. We're very grateful.
Yes, I've loved watching you grow, and even the events and collaborations, just watching them afar on Instagram has just been so joyous.
Thanks.
Of course. So when you mentioned, hiring the women who help you make the jewelry, any tips on hiring? Like, was there like a local group you looked for these women in, or did you ask around like friends and family? I think those sorts of tips are always so helpful for listeners, in terms of like, I always get the ladies who help me or work for me or intern for me or whatever. A lot of times from my alumni, I reach out to them and they let me know recent girls have graduated and are looking for a job or looking for an internship. So I'm curious what you found as a resource.
Yes, so absolutely. I think word of mouth, everybody knows that when you're searching for a job, word of mouth is the way to go. Finding somebody who you can trust because you know that other people trust them is so important. What I did is a mixture of, yes, word of mouth, trying to search out people, asking other fellow small business owners, hey, does anybody know of anyone who would be a great fit for this role? I really need some help. Or also, one thing that I did too is I put up an Instagram story just with the job listing and description, and a link to learn more about it and apply. And I was really taken aback at the interest, which I was so grateful for. And I think that's also a good way to, I had a very specific kind of vision of, I really wanted to hire people who just like me love to craft, someone who would be doing needlepoint at night regardless, so they may as well just be instead making jewelry and getting paid for it. People who really love to work with their hands and they have that eye and for detail and craftsmanship. So I think social media is a really great tool when you're trying to find potential employees, and of course, like I said, word of mouth too.
Yes. Okay. Such great advice there. Um, Now, I'm curious, since we talked a little bit about marketing, with creating your separate account, but what tips have really helped you grow this business in terms of marketing? And you have such a marketing brain. So, any tips for growing your business? What's worked in marketing? And then also maybe helping you grow on social media. You're so good at social media. So, any tips around social media?
I know a lot of people do not love this answer, but TikTok. Like, I'm telling you, TikTok, and then of course also Reels. I know I hear so many women have told me before, it's just overwhelming. Like, I hate editing, I don't know what to do. And if you don't want to have to do it, which is so fair because editing is like a full-time job in itself. That's why there's people who do this. I would look into hiring someone to edit your videos because I think the algorithm that Reels and TikToks use pushes out your content to so many different people who may not follow you and otherwise wouldn't see your content.
Mhm.
And when I started posting on TikTok, gosh, I think it was probably like 5 years ago. Yeah, our business grew so much because we were getting so many different eyes, and I think it kind of ties back into people are loyal to a person and not just a brand. So coming up with content that's not just, okay, here's our product, like here's this earring and then this earring and then this one. It's, hey, like, let me talk to the camera. Let me form a personal relationship with people. Even if you want to do a voiceover, I am so uncomfortable with taking my phone. I never film in public like this because I still can't do it. But like, a lot of people do, and they do really well when they do. So
Yeah.
I highly encourage trying to get comfortable. I'm still working on this, but like, saying, hey, like, come along with me. We're going to go to our warehouse. Or, like, come along with me. We're going to design a new collection. Here's how I do it, you know? Like, trying to showcase people in an engaging way.
Yeah.
Or not showcase people, showcase what you're
Brand.
doing
Yeah.
to people. So yeah, I think social media is probably the best tool right now for trying to really grow, and as uncomfortable as it can be, it is so worth it. And then also I think building out different channels that aren't just social media. So, email marketing is a really great way to not be dependent on an algorithm so that you have your loyal, tried and true customers that you can reach out to and be like, hey, we have a new drop coming, and you don't have to worry about if the algorithm changed and no one's going to see your stuff.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
No, that was the perfect answer. And I think something that's great that you mentioned is obviously Reels and TikTok you suggested, but finding what you're comfortable with within those realms. So I know, for example, you do a lot of like day in the life of like behind the scenes, like waking up in the morning, making your coffee, then sitting down at your desk. And even though you said you're not as comfortable like holding the camera out in public and taking you that way, you found a way to make it work and you're doing really well with that. So for listeners, try Reels, try TikTok, and just see what you're comfortable with in those videos, right? And start testing it out because once you start, I feel like then you get more comfortable in trying different forms of it, right?
Yes, and then your followers and your customers kind of get used to what you're doing. Like, I will say I always do voiceovers because it just makes me so much more comfortable to be able to kind of film everything, edit it, and then think about what I want to say to make sure I'm not, when you're walking around in public with a phone, I'd be panicked and I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing, bye. um, and I think your followers see what you're doing and that's what they learn to expect from you. So I actually tried to mix it up one time and like talk to the camera throughout my day, and that video flopped. I think people were like, what are you doing? Why are you straying from our tried and true what we like to see? Like, what are you doing? So yeah.
I think the younger generation calls it like a comfort creator. Is that the word? Like, because I feel like when I'm watching you, it's very like relaxing, just watching your day and your voiceovers and your beautiful, aesthetically pleasing rooms and jewelry. So that's how I would categorize sort of what you're creating on social media.
Patricia, that just made my whole week. Thank you. That was so nice of you. That's my goal. I would be honored to be a content creator.
Oh my gosh, so fun. So what is the hardest part about owning this business, about being a creator? And then what's your favorite part, like the part that fills you up and keeps you going?
Well, I'll start with my favorite part so we can start on a positive note. I really am so grateful for the community and the relationships that I've built throughout this. I have made some really dear friends who are real, authentic friends, not just like, oh, you're a business owner, I'm a business owner. Like, what can we do with each other to like promote and collab? Like that. I am so glad that I've made friendships with people that I genuinely enjoy chatting with them and we are real friends.
Yeah.
And that's been so much fun. It is such an honor to have brides and mothers, mother of the bride, mother of the groom, like wear our earrings and our jewelry for arguably some of the most meaningful moments of their life. Like it's been so special to have people receive our earrings as a bridesmaid and then a couple years later they're like, okay, I re-wore like those earrings I got as a bridesmaid, as a bride in my own wedding, and now I like have a baby announcement. Can we do something custom to match this dress? Like, re-wearing it again for their baby's baptism. People will always say at trunk shows when I see them, it's so sweet. They're like, oh, my mom and I like actually fight over the earrings. Like, not sweet that they're fighting, but like
Yeah.
they share the earrings and swap for different events. And it's just so special to get to be part of these memories. And I'm so grateful. And it's fun being in this side of the wedding industry because it's just happy and it's about love. And that's just so special. So I'd say that's my favorite thing about all of this. And I think the hardest part as a business owner is, when you run your own company, there's no limit to what you can do and what you can make.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is that then you feel pressure to be working 24/7 because you are only going to you're only going to make and do and accomplish as much as you work for, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So there is this pressure of like, okay, I have a free 5 minutes. Like, what can I accomplish in this time? Like, you start to kind of make an idol of your to-do list and checking things off and doing as much as possible to feel productive, and you almost feel guilty when you're reading at night on your Kindle and you're like, okay, I'm taking a deep breath, and
Yes.
I think something that I struggled with for a really long time and I'm still learning is being able to take a breather, take time for yourself, have that work-life balance, because if you're, running on fumes, you are not going to do your best job,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Well, that's such good advice. And I think all of us business owners, like you mentioned, we struggle with that because it's our baby, it's part of us. And like you said, it's only going to do as well as what you put in. So, but you need time for yourself to do well. Since this is the Preppy podcast, I always ask everyone, what does Preppy mean to you? So how would you describe Preppy?
Well, my mom has always loved preppy style. And when we were growing up, she'd be like, okay, like this is the preppy handbook. Like this is what we're doing. And I just have really fun memories of growing up with my mom taking us to Ralph Lauren and Lily Pulitzer. And I remember Vineyard Vines was like the big preppy thing when I was in school. And I just think it's traditional and classic. And I think it's interesting to me because I think there's New England preppy and then there's Southern preppy, and they're a little bit different. But I just love both of them, and I think it very much encapsulates like a huge part of my style.
Yes, I love that answer. Your mom, she sounds like she has fabulous style.
She's the best. I love her very much.
Now, I'm curious, who would be an absolute dream customer for you? If you could have anyone wear your jewelry, like celebrity, royal, big influencer, like who would be a dream customer for you?
I don't know if this is like the right answer, but honestly, I think if my earrings were worn on Bridgerton, I would
Oh,
pass away.
yeah.
Like seeing my earrings in that setting of
Mhm.
just like whimsical and romantic and just beautiful, I think I'd quit after that. I'd be like, it only goes down from here.
That is a perfect answer, and I could totally see their characters with your jewelry or like a collaboration of some sort would be amazing.
I mean, that would be a dream. Bridgerton, Netflix, if you're listening, I'm available. We'll make it work.
Give SJ a call.
Please, like, I'll leave my number. Like, just call me anytime.
It's so fabulous. Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to ask you one quick question about any tips for antiquing or thrifting. You have such a great eye and such like beautiful interior spaces, and I know you spend a lot of weekends at estate sales and things like that. So, any tips around that?
Estatesales.net is where I find out about all of the upcoming estate sales. So this is for no matter where you live in the US. If you go to estatesales.net and then type in your zip code, you can subscribe to weekly updates for your area. So I think it's on Wednesdays. They'll email you all the upcoming sales and they'll include pictures and descriptions. And you can just go through and figure out which sale looks like something that you want to go check out. And a little trick, I hope the estate sale people don't hate me for saying this. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think what you can do is if you see something and you're like, I have to have this, they usually have like an email or a phone number that you can text and be like, hey, is this still available? Like if you see the estate sale on Friday, but it started on a Thursday and you're like, I don't know if I want to drive 45
Yeah.
minutes to go to this one, you can always like try to get in touch with them to see if something's still there.
Okay.
Um, and then I think, you know, in Atlanta, we have such a great antique scene and there's so many fun antique stores, but the best deals that you're ever going to find are going to be Facebook Marketplace and or estate sales, depending on the estate sale vendor. So yeah, I definitely think everybody should do it. It is so possible to create a beautiful, special home that is so true to you and your style without breaking the bank. Like my entire dining room, with the exception of I think the two lamps that I have in here now, was sourced entirely from Facebook Marketplace. Like these chairs, table, credenza, mirror. This is all from eBay, and a couple of small businesses sent me some rose medallion, which is so sweet of them. But yeah, you can do it. It's anyone can do it.
Such great tips. Okay, what's the greatest find that you've ever scored at an estate sale or, Facebook Marketplace?
That is such a great question. Okay, I think I have two stories.
Okay.
One, this I think it's a Trumo mirror. I'm so embarrassed if I'm saying that incorrectly, so I apologize if that's wrong. But it's this beautiful French cream and gold mirror that I have in my dining room. And these usually retail for really insane prices that I would never be able to pay. But I found it on Facebook Marketplace like 6 years ago. I think before my husband and I were even married for like $125 or
Oh
something.
my gosh.
So me, my brother, my sister, and my now husband, I made them all jump in the car with me and like go pick this up because I was like, I am not losing this. Like
Yeah.
I am buying this right now. So that's really special, and there's like a fun memory of going to pick it
Yeah.
up because I think my brother was like in high school and he was like, we were doing what? Like, hold on. And then my two French chairs that I have in my living room,
Okay.
I found them on Facebook Marketplace after I had just graduated, and they were painted neon sparkly teal with like teal fabric. And I sent a picture to my now husband and I was like, okay, Jackson, like I have a vision with these chairs, like I'm gonna buy them. And he seriously was like, you have lost your mind. Like they look like blueberries. Like I don't, that's not the style. Like I think he got really concerned and I was like, just trust me, I have a plan. and I stripped the paint, had them recovered in a really beautiful ice blue velvet, and now they're like my favorite thing ever
Yeah.
because I worked so hard on flipping those, but I'm really happy with how they turned out.
I feel like I've seen them in your videos before, so I think I know which ones you're talking about, and they're gorgeous. Oh my
Thanks.
gosh. I loved chatting with you, SJ. Like, it's been so much fun. I love all these stories, and you have so many great tips for marketing. So just thank you so much for being on the podcast, and let everyone know, to wrap up, where they can find you, social media handles, website, all of that, so that they can support and follow along.
Yes, so you can follow along at SJ Bailey Co. and then at SJ Bailey Curated, and my website is sjbaileyco.com. Thank you so much for having me, Patricia. This was so much fun, and you're amazing. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy Podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.